That that first question that you asked in the first debate, you had worked on it, and your team had worked on it obviously for a long time. Did you know what it was going to set off? Did you know
No.
what would follow?
I don't think I could have ever imagined what would come after that question. I knew he probably wouldn't like it, right? Because Trump had already shown himself to be a little sensitive to, tough questions.
He had already called you up.
We had had a tough exchange on the Monday before that Thursday debate. He was angry about a segment I had done the prior week involving his divorce from Ivana Trump.
Right, allegations that she had made during that divorce.
Right. She was claiming back in that divorce that he had raped her. She recanted those allegations fully. And then the Daily Beast did a story reviving it that prior week. And I put on the Daily Beast reporter to give him a hard time about, it's 30 years old. She recanted. What are you doing? Well, Trump didn't like it getting any airtime at all. And he called me. He insisted that I call him the Monday before that Thursday debate. And when I did, it did not go well.
You say in the book that he threatened you.
He did. So he was very angry that I had aired that segment. And, I said, look, I did you a favor. Nobody was even telling the other side of that. They were just accepting this as a relevant story. He didn't see it that way. And ultimately, I said, look, Mr. Trump, you don't control the editorial in the Kelly file. And that was it. He said, that's it. You're a disgrace. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And then he said, oh, I almost unleashed my beautiful Twitter account against you, and I still may. And that was 4 days before the presidential debate, at which I knew I was going to open with a tough question about women, not about Ivana Trump, but about women. So, going in, I had some nerves because I had a feeling he wouldn't like it, but I had to do my job.
I want to play that moment just for not that every viewer in the world doesn't see it already, but let's just play that.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't. Your Twitter account.
Thank you.
For the record, it was well beyond Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, I'm sure.
You once told a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice it would be a pretty picture to see her on her knees.
Honestly, Megyn, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that.
Looking at it now, what do you think?
What I thought in the moment, which was that was a veiled threat, and I understood why he was suggesting I hadn't been nice to him. And I figured at the time maybe he's going to come after me a bit on Twitter, and that'll be that. I mean, this is in part the nature of our jobs. Sometimes politicians are unhappy with our coverage, and you have to take it. So that's what I thought was going to happen. He's beaten up on me pretty good in the days after that debate, and then it just started to take on a different tone, and it started to just have different words. And by the following night, he was on with Don Lemon and made those blood comments, and that just changed everything in the debate. I went to the beach to be with my husband and my kids later that night. I saw Don that night. Normally, I'm not watching him. I love Don, but I saw him that night because we pre-taped the Kelly file, and Trump had insisted that he go on at 9 o'clock on CNN across from me. You guys let him go on commercial-free for 30 minutes, and we still beat you. Not you, it was Don. And that's when he made those comments. So I got in the car to go to the beach after that, and I was looking through my phone, and just the internet lost its mind over those comments. And I see these politicians tweeting out, I stand with Megyn. It was like, what the presidential candidates. And just things would never be the same again. It was just a...
You ended up with security. I mean, you had to even go into Disney World, I think, with your family. You had to have a security.
We had security guards the whole year. I mean, the threat level just got so high that it was impossible not to take that seriously. And, it's not like I was walking around actively believing that somebody was going to necessarily try something, but it was high enough that we had to take it seriously.
Well, you write about it in the book that a Fox executive actually said something to the Trump campaign about, it would not be good for you if Megyn Kelly is killed.
So Michael Cohen, who is Trump's top lawyer and an executive vice president with the Trump Organization, had retweeted, "Let's gut her," about me. at a time when the threat level was very high, which he knew. And Bill Shine, an executive vice president at Fox, called him up to say, you got to stop this. Like, we understand you're angry, but this is, she's got 3 little kids. She's walking around New York, really. And he didn't much care. And what Bill Shine said to Michael Cohen was, let me put it to you in terms you can understand. If Megyn Kelly gets killed, it's not going to help your candidate.
The fact that an executive at your company, though, I mean, that's an actual thought, that's out there, a real concern is incredibly telling.
Well, listen, there's no question that some of the tactics engaged in by those supporting, Team Trump were questionable. Michael Cohen did that. Corey Lewandowski specifically threatened me if I showed up at the second debate hosted by Fox News, which our executive vice president said back to him, knock it off. You don't threaten our reporter. She will be there. And that was the one that Trump skipped. And it went on from there. I mean, even as recently as right before Donald Trump won, his online social media guy issued another threat saying, wait till you see what happens to her after this election. But
you took that as a threat, as a personal threat, or as a professional threat?
Listen, I don't take it that serious. It's Trump's golf caddy who now runs his online services, right? So I was like, he's trying to get my attention, I guess. But the point is, these are not your normal tactics that we see in a presidential race unleashed against a journalist who asked a tough question.
I don't think it would have made any difference, but some, in reading the book, have criticized you for not revealing all of that conversation you had with Trump before, where he talked about unleashing his beautiful Twitter on you, kind of holding on to that until the book came out. Mm-hmm. Do you think it would have made any difference?
No. I mean, do you think if the Access Hollywood tape didn't make a difference and the 12 female accusers didn't make a difference and the Khan family and Judge Curiel, none of that mattered, that he mentioned his beautiful Twitter account was going to be a game changer? My approach in this was I wanted to be honest, so I had revealed that I had received some death threats and that I had a guard and, that the level was getting a little dangerous. But I didn't want to make it any more about me. Trump kept trying to make the story about me, and the story was about him and ultimately Hillary Clinton, but in the early days, him and the other Republicans. I write in the book, in Settle for More, that I felt like a human being who had been dropped into a shark tank. And there were passersby looking in, slightly horrified at what was going on. And all I wanted to do last year was get myself out of the shark tank. And it was not going to help to chum up the waters more with, and he did this, and he did this, and here's my reaction to that. I didn't want to be the story. Even when he was making the comments, the blood comments, the other things, we didn't even cover it on the Kelly file. Just didn't even want to touch it.
Journalistically, it's a difficult position because on the one hand, these are facts which might persuade a viewer or at least inform a viewer, or it's just part of the historical record. The flip side of it is journalistically, you don't want to be the story. You don't want to be.
Exactly. And I think journalistically it wasn't a hard call for me because this isn't like someone came to me and said, I want to tell you something that happened between me and Donald Trump. This is me. We're under no obligation to report our own personal experiences just because we also happen to be journalists. In that regard, we're sort of half private citizen where it's up to us whether we want to reveal our personal stories.
Donald Trump, early on the primary season was talking about how he could be presidential, he can be however he wants. Do you think he's going to change significantly? He's still tweeting, just today against the New York Times. Do you think that changes? I mean, do you feel like what President Trump is going to govern like, what he's going to be like?
No, no. I don't know. I'm fascinated to find out. It's going to be a great story to cover. But, look, he's 70 years old. I don't know a lot of 70-year-old men who change from the way they used to be, and I think generally past his prologue. So I think he's probably going to be very much the same, although he might try to rein himself in a little bit. I think, hopefully, with respect to some of his dicier rhetoric, he will be lifted up by the office. And I'm hoping that the power of it and, just the majesty of it, if you will appeal to his better angels.
Just briefly, because we're almost out of time, the entire Roger Ailes harassment, not only towards you, but to so many women there. I mean, it's hard looking from the outside in to imagine that could have gone on so long from the top down. I mean, I feel like if that was happening here in this company, it's just a different setup. Mm-hmm. I don't know that the top has that much power that it did under Roger Ailes. I saw something Bill O'Reilly said, I guess he's promoting a book saying something about, you could have gone to HR. It seemed like Roger Ailes controlled HR. I mean, and that's the situation, many women face. It's not so easy to just say, oh yeah, well, I'll just go to, a superior and tell them.
Thank you for recognizing that. That's exactly right. And I lay it out in the book because I think this is a real problem at many companies, and I want people to be put on notice. I'm hoping CEOs will hear this message and say, you know what, man, maybe I have set this problem in my own company, and I got to provide a safe off-ramp for women who feel too scared to report it. They don't always feel comfortable going to the general counsel or to HR. You got to have somebody, I would say, outside of the company who doesn't depend on the CEO for his or her paycheck, to whom the women, and it can happen to men too, can go to report. And at Fox News, it's very true that Roger Ailes was very much a king of sorts. And this is all laid out in the book in that he had founded the company, he had co-founded the company, and he had loyalists placed throughout the company, and he demanded loyalty. I mean, O'Reilly speaks of loyalty. That is the culture that Roger demanded, that should be placed above all other things. And I would submit that that is part of what created the problem we had for some time there. And I am very happy that now that's been addressed, and the actual owners of the company, the Murdochs, have come in, and as soon as this was brought to their attention, they got rid of him and have created a new situation over there where they've made very clear they want people to be safe and to feel safe. And for what it's worth, they were the ones who said to me, you should include this chapter in your book. It's important.
Just finally, you and I share something in common, which I lost my dad when I was 10. Your dad died when you were a sophomore in high school, and I hadn't realized that until I read the book. And there's a quote my mom always quotes, a writer named Mary Gordon, who said, a fatherless girl thinks all things possible and nothing is safe. My mom grew up without a father. You had a father for much of your childhood, but I'm wondering, that loss, did it shape the person you are now? Did it change the person you were?
Well, I know you know the answer is yes, right? Because when you lose a parent at a young age, it just creates a void that can never be filled. I mean, you can go all over the world covering very dangerous wars, and it's still there. You can ascend to the top of the news business, and it's still there. And I'd love to say it's given me great perspective on the world and made me a better person. And I guess to some extent that's true. But I trade it all back to have one more day with him. I feel lucky that I had my dad till I was 15, and his imprint on me was made and is secure. I think about that now with my own kids, who are 7, 5, and 3. I worry about mortality, right, as you do if you have great loss at a young age.
How old was your father when he died?
He was 45.
Wow.
My age right now.
That's, yeah, I see, my dad was 50. I've always thought I would die by 50.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm 45 right now. I turned 46 on Friday, so I've got a few more days.
I think you're going to be all right.
But I've been looking forward to my 46th birthday. I mean, for that reason. But I think about mortality a lot. And the thing that I take away from it, Anderson, is that, no, really, you could die any day. And you can't waste 1 second of your time here. It's too short to be mired in controversy and acrimony and sadness. And I changed my life to settle for more and try to do better for myself. And that's a gut check moment I continue to do, and that I want others to do, to improve their own lives, because who knows?
Well, also that, you'd had a kind of an argument with your dad, and that was really the last, you have this lasting image of him after the argument laying on the couch alone looking at the Christmas tree. And it was later that night that he died. That, to me, I had to stop reading for a while there.
It was very hard to write, and it's the one chapter of the book that I can't really go back and read because it's upsetting. But yeah, we had an argument the night he died, and we almost never argued. He never had a harsh word for me, but I was being a bratty teenager who wanted a nice class ring. I wanted a nicer one than we could afford. And he told me we couldn't, and I kept complaining, and he turned and walked out of the kitchen. And it was the last exchange I ever had with my dad. And I stormed up to my room, and there he was sitting on the couch, staring at the Christmas tree. And I didn't say anything to him. I just went into my bedroom. And the next thing I knew, my sister burst in and said, "Wake up, Daddy had a heart attack." And he never revived. And, you know, within 3 hours, we were in the hospital next to his bedside, and he was gone.
Megan Kilby. Megan, thanks very much.
Thanks for having me, Anderson. I'm a fan.
Thanks. Me too.